as a First Nation, and especially with up north, we have no job opportunities. One of the most serious things all chiefs, especially up north, have to start realize as this world continues to evolve and develop, our young people are going to eventually, and it's going to be sooner than later, start packing it in and moving away from the reserves. If you have any desire to have a good job, a good home, things to do, if we don't do anything as chiefs and council, we're going to lose our population. It's not necessarily just our fault. It's the way the Canadian government has structured it.
Chief, I want to thank you for coming today. It's a pleasure that you came. I'm so honored to have you here. Look what I wore today. I was a chief for 6 months. I brought my headdress, and I just felt like if I was meeting a chief, I'm going to put this on. It was kind of a reminder. And I have no regrets. I absolutely love being a chief, but I don't know how you do it on a day-to-day basis, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. We started a series, Evolution of Leadership, so just building up to this. We had Chief Gord Blue Sky in a week ago, which is going to come out. What a fantastic story, and this is what makes this job really rewarding, humanizing you, the chiefs. I want to know a little bit about what you guys were before you became chief and what led you to doing what you're doing today. So welcome to the show, Chief. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Michael. I am honored to be here. I've always followed you. I've known quite a bit about you. I was really admired you actually for your initial jump into business with your Coca-Cola brand. I thought that was an amazing opportunity, and nobody really thinks like that, right? Yeah. It's a Japanese model where where they just took a product that was already existing and made it better. Right? And that to me is what I look at. I also follow a lot of what I learned recently in university about the Inuit and how the Inuit take, or their approach is, what are they spending outside their nations, in cities and primarily, and then trying to find ways to keep that money within their, ownership or retention. That's what I focus on.
Right. So you're looking at other enterprises, other models in different countries, and see what you can do to kind of copy the trend a little bit.
The Indian communities of the country. One of their ideas or things they do is they send off a lot of workers different parts of the world. Right. But they still retain that fire. Right. They still belong to their nations. They come back and forth. So because Norway has a set amount of employment, being able to pull together or find ways for my community to work somewhere else. Right. But come back. That's kind of the approach, I think. Yeah. Be a long-term success.
Getting back to Norway House, for those people, we all know who Norway House is. When you're from Manitoba, everybody knows, but we have listeners watching coast to coast our episodes, and it's really... Can you talk about Norway House a little bit? Sure. And where it's located?
Norway House is a community that was established by the fur trade. So we're talking into the 1600s. Wow. So Norway House became a very critical point during the fur trade. The country was using the Nelson River to move products. So Norway House had a fort by the Hudson Bay. So we kind of been around for a long time. We also were at the north shore of Lake Winnipeg. We're right on the entrance of the Nelson River that Manitoba Hydro uses as their watershed, and so we're right in the middle of we're in the beginning of everything that goes on. So what we think in our communities, we can become that again. But we just have to.
But in a modern way.
Doing differently, exactly.
Yeah. I get excited when I talk about Norway House because I come from the Unshinu territory, Island Lake. If it wasn't for Norway House, we wouldn't have that road necessarily. We get that extra 2-3 weeks because of the connection from the Island Lake region to Norway House, and then out. But that's another thing that I get super excited about is building a road for our people in the future. And I know you share that same vision.
I'm excited about it. Quite frankly, I've been on discussions about it and trying to convince communities to come to the west, to Norway House. I think that having that connection, our history, and we can actually grow our own economies. So this winter, actually, we did an interesting experiment where we decided, my construction company went and did great work and pushed the winter road from Norway House to Highway 6.
Right.
So that was what would have taken us about 3 hours to go around. Now it's taking us an hour and a half to get to the city.
Isn't that something? That's a big difference. because my brother Richard, who's hot-shotting up and down the road, he goes, Michael, this is a dream come true. It saves me on fuel. You want to explain where that link is on the road?
Well, Norway. If you look at a map, Norway House is pretty much on the central
Right.
of Manitoba. So we have some lakes that we cross, namely the Playgreen Lake, and then you get to an area we once referred to as the 40-mile portage.
Right.
Now, the 40-mile portage is put in back in the 70s to run the power line from Highway 6 Manitoba Hydro substation into Norway House. So that power line's been there for a number of years, but it was never really used as a road.
Right.
Periodically, the company that would clean up the mess that was discovered from the construction of 2 Mile, 8 Mile have been there for a number of years now, so they use that road periodically. But there was never any road pushed from there into Norway House.
Wow.
So we decided this year, why not?
That's a huge savings for everybody.
The one thing people should start to realize is that governments have limited funding, federally, provincially. But if First Nations like Norway House has, we're growing our own financial strength, we're growing our own financial abilities. So we paid for that road. So when I called Manitoba government, I wanted to find out about the process of winter road classification or opening. First response I got, we don't have any money.
Right away,
That's
right?
the first thing. I said, we're not asking you for money.
Yeah.
We're asking you for an inspection so that we can actually have this road functioning as a proper winter road.
Yeah, but is it sanctioned by the province of Manitoba? Is it an actual road?
Not really. What they told us was that they were classified as a private road, but that Autopack would cover passenger vehicles.
Okay.
Personal vehicles.
So not semi-traffic.
Not semi-traffic
Okay.
or
but you're going to
commercial
see
vehicles.
trucks going through there, I'm pretty sure, at some point. You know what I mean?
You know what? I feel, and this is important to me as a Norway House member, that going north is one thing, and it is in the summertime. It's the safest way to go that way. So we have been requesting for a bridge at Sea Falls for a number of years. And look, we're a community of up to 10,000.
I was going to ask that question. The population of Norway House. How many people are on your band list? Or
it's a band list is about almost 10,000, and so we have, but we also have other people coming and going throughout the year. So last summer we had there was an evacuation from our neighbors from Michikamak, and so they needed to go and get out of their community. The fire was a bit northwest of them, so they had to come to Norway House, and it was quite the difficult experience.
That was nice to see the two communities working together. There was some positive stuff that came out of that.
It was definitely a big experience. Meeting, so they told us 1,000 members would be coming up, or coming over, and then we ended up, I think the total was about 4,500.
Right. That's crazy.
And then the fire was continuing to grow, so, we're a little bit concerned about, okay, what's Norway House going to do? Right? So my first reaction was, actually spoke to my band member of mine, who was actually the one of the most best qualified firefighter in the province. His name is Pat Bear.
Right.
So I asked him and my brother Wayne, who's the COO in Norway House, to take a flight and go look at where our weaknesses are, see where some of the danger spots might be. So they came back and they told me there's an area there that it could potentially, cause us trouble. So the same company that did the Winter Road this year, Playgreen Development, they went out there along with Mr. Bear, and they cut a line 150 feet wide by 1,000 feet long in probably less than a week.
That's incredible.
They did an awesome job. And what that did was it protected us from, if the fire did come south, that would have saved us probably at least a few days.
Can we use that as firewood?
At the end of the day, we end up using it.
Yeah.
That does become a good fire.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. I want to get back a little bit to you and your family. I want to know more about your family. Your wife, he puts up with a lot, of course, you being chief, right? What's your wife's name?
You know what? My wife's name is Lisa Anderson.
Yep.
Née Papanicus.
Yeah.
So she's also lived and grew up in Norway House. We met when we were younger, obviously.
Right.
But she's been an amazing strength. We have 4 daughters.
Okay.
They range from 23 to 33. So we have, and you know what? My wife's done such an amazing job in raising my daughters.
Nice.
None of them have gone into the negative lifestyles of drinking, drugs.
Right.
2 of them are now married. One has 1 daughter, the other one has 2 and 1 on the way. So that's what really keeps me grounded in terms of
it's nice to have that home front in order, and because my wife does a miracle, great job, kind of keeping the home front at bay, especially when you work like we do. So obviously you got good continuity at home.
Yeah, it's amazing. I often say that my wife and I, our best friends are our daughters.
Isn't that nice,
So
eh?
we spend a lot of time with them. Our grandchildren are amazing.
I see that. I keep tabs on you online, and I see how close you are to your family. And a lot of it has, and I'm going to tell you something. One thing I've learned is to have faith. I'm a believer of God. I've been through a lot. I've hit rock bottom where I did. Like, I'm 7 years sober, and I have a different outlook with life. And because I've been through rock bottom where I really needed help mentally, physically to get through some difficult times, and a lot of it has to do with having faith. And I know you're a man of faith. You want to open up a little bit about your beliefs in faith?
You know, I grew up in a very difficult home. Mainly, my dad was a weekend alcoholic, I'll say, because he did work. He did support us. He put clothes on our backs and food on the table. But it was rough growing up on the reservation in Norway House, on the Rossville side of town. So it's considered a bit of a rough side. I grew up and I didn't finish high school. I started drinking and things like that. That doesn't fall in line with what a success would mean. But at the same time, though, I had a friend of mine, very close friend of mine. So me and him we managed to stay sober for about a year.
Right.
Just talking, hanging out, and then I lost him.
You did?
He fell off the wagon and he went drinking that one week that I was in the Norway House. And
how old were you guys?
I was 21.
Just young, yeah.
So, but he was my best friend. We were very close.
Right.
So he passed, and man, it really hurt. It really hurt.
That was a rude awakening, wasn't it?
I've never understood what your heart is as hard as a rock. There's a term that's used, a biblical term.
Yeah.
But when that happened, I literally felt somebody touching my heart and almost burning, like really hurt. Anyway, it woke me up, I guess.
It did, eh? And at a young age, too.
22, I think it was by that time. So I decided, you know what, this drinking life is not for me. These drugs are not for me.
Right.
So I went about doing what I could to stay sober. And
that's what makes you human, is to open up and talk about it. Me, I'm not shy to talk about what I've done. I was an alcoholic. I was into drugs. I did all of that. But I was in a place where I was masking pain, right? And I'm open about it because we can help other people as a result.
With me, one of my experiences as well was that I was asked by a hydro employee, asked me if I can go buy him a gram of marijuana. Right. So I'm trying to be friendly, so I took his money, went to go buy it, and then gave it to him, and then a couple of months later, I'm getting thrown in jail.
Yeah, and that was when it was really illegal at the time, right?
But if you go to the States, that's entrapment. Like, the guy set me up.
Isn't that something?
But instead of feeling really down about it, what came to me was, I'm a First Nation person.
Right.
And in this country, 75 to 90% of men end up getting charged with something, which is kind of a very not very good thing to think.
No.
But that's reality. So growing up in Canada, as a First Nation, you're a male.
Right.
You're already marked as a criminal, as an alcoholic, as a drug addict. And that gave me strength to say no. We can't keep going this way.
Yeah.
So as a 22-year-old, I had nobody that I knew that was sober. Growing up, all my friends.
Do you consider that a rock bottom period of your life when that happened? Or did you hit rock bottom later in life?
Actually, I would say later.
Later, right? Okay.
Later. That one was more of an eye-opener.
Yeah.
Made me realize that this is not where I want to go. So I actually went back to school and got high school adult ed. You
got your grade 12?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So I sobered up and got married, had a daughter, and I used to live in right in the smack dab Rossville area, and I'm cleaning my yard, doing my stuff to fix up my house and that, and then I got nominated to run for a councillor position.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. Did you have political aspirations early? You were a councillor, you said? Actually, you were pretty young.
When I was a teenager, I guess I would have had that.
Yeah.
I thought I could have done better for the work I wanted to do. But it kind of leaves you, right? And then it didn't come back until I was nominated in, I believe it was which was an election I didn't know. I didn't know I was nominated.
You didn't know you were nominated.
I wasn't following the
Yeah.
back then, and so there was an election, and then I didn't win that election.
Okay. Yeah.
But I was close considering I didn't do any campaign.
Yeah. No campaigning.
But I had sobered up. That was my campaign,
Yeah.
I guess. So in the '94 election, I had a better chance, I felt, of getting elected.
Yep. And back in '94.
Funny thing is, though, that on the day of the election, actually leading up to the election day, I was interviewing for a job with Shell Oil. Shell Oil had an agents or a distribution center in Norway House.
Okay.
And the manager or owner of that agency was moving on, was going to move to Leaf Rapids. So they interviewed me to take the job.
Okay.
And then so I did the interviews during that 2-3 week period before the election, and then they were in Norway House that day of the election. I was at the office, and they said to me, "You're getting the job," and I thought that's awesome.
Right.
I mean, it was paying $80,000 a year.
That's a lot of money in those days.
25-year-old, right? That's tax-free money. Right?
Still a lot of money today, Chief. Yeah.
But then at that same day, I believe it was the same day, maybe the next day. But I won the election, which was paying $27,000 a year. So my boss, I said to him, you know what, I have to